everybody, and welcome to this special episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And today on Hank's Corner, we get to go back to the lovely place of Ireland, and my special guest is Rachel Goode. Rachel, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm great, and thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you on. And as I mentioned in the before we got on, is that I've been following you a little while through Down the Road Radio. I love Down the Road Radio, not only because they play my podcast over there, but because they always come up with all these different great artists, whether it's from Ireland, the United States, or all over. And so I just love following them. And what do you think is special about like people like Down the Road Radio that give the independent artists a chance to have a platform?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, is that Down the Road Radio are so supportive, especially of Irish artists as well, because they're based in Ireland. So they're so supportive of the upcoming artists, because obviously all the artists that are doing really well at the moment, they have their platforms there and they're always guaranteed airplay when they release a new single. Whereas, people starting out and kind of trying to get up there find it sometimes that bit harder to get the airplay on the bigger stations. And Down the Road Radio are so amazing at supporting and giving us the airplay. And also, like you said, they're great for finding like new independent talent that, not just from Ireland as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Jamie Donnelly was one of my guests previously, who was one of the ones that came on. So we definitely love talking to people over there in Ireland. And I had mentioned before that the last time I've actually been over there was back in 2008. So it's been a while. We had a good time while we were there. We actually flew into Dublin and did a counterclockwise tour where we went up to Northern Ireland and Belfast and back around down to Ashford Castle and the south, and ended up leaving in I believe it was County Cork. But tell me, if I ever do get to make it back to Ireland, where are some of the places that maybe I should visit? Maybe not even just like the touristy parts, but things that maybe the locals know about, and it could be music related or just history related.
Were you in Galway?
I think we did get there for a short period of time, but we were moving quickly, so I couldn't tell you specifically what we did in Galway.
So like Galway city itself is like so traditional, and there's so much culture there in the city. You'll always find amazing music in Galway city. Like a lot of the pubs have a lot of Irish trad, which is kind of like our cultured music here. So Galway is a fabulous city to visit. Also, you can keep going west and kind of go to like Connemara, which is really famous in Ireland. It's a place where sheep just roam around. There's no there's no walls or gates to keep them in fields. They're just like crossing the road. So you have to kind of follow them rather than they don't watch out for the cars.
Yeah, and definitely, I did get a nice experience with the sheep over there. They were, it was kind of surprising to us, because they're kind of spray painted numbers on them, I guess, to keep track as opposed to branding. And then at one point, I think it may have been up in Belfast that we actually did get to watch sheep races, so that was actually kind of funny. But so. Great places. I hope to get back to Ireland to visit. But have you been to the United States?
I haven't, would you believe? I haven't. And I've wanted to go there ever since I was young. It was funny because me and my mum, we always said when I turned 16, I was supposed to go for my 16th birthday, and it never happened. And then my 18th, I was going to go, didn't happen. Then my 21st. And now I don't even want to say where we're at. And I still haven't been. So
you're 22.
Yeah. 22. So,
but I did hear a rumor that maybe you're coming to Alaska. Is that true?
That is true. So I am going to be singing on the All-Star Irish Cruise. It's the Gertrude Byrne Cruise next year. So it's May 2023 and it's going to Alaska. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm thinking about maybe extending my trip a little bit, so that maybe I could fly into New York for a few days, because while I'm there, I'd like to kind of try and see as much of it as I can. But yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I've never been to Alaska. That's going to be such an amazing experience. There's also amazing artists on the cruise, you know, like Daniel O'Donnell, Nathan Carter, Michael English, Jimmy Buckley, all the big, massive Irish country stars. So I'm really honoured to be, you know, on it with them and singing alongside them.
Okay. And I've never actually gotten to go to Alaska. It's one of the places in the United States that I have not been to, probably because it's so far from where we're located. But I'd love to get up there one time. And who knows, maybe I can jump on that cruise because that sounds like a great
Yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely.
So, we're talking about a lot of Irish stuff here and Irish music, and they're great talent that's been coming out of Ireland lately that I've seen. And one of the things was that you were on a I guess a talent showcase that you were a finalist. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think you mean Glor Tire.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a search for a country star, and you're mentored by a really well known country artist. So Mike Denver was my mentor for that. The concept was a little bit different this year. Usually, previous to this year, there was one contestant per mentor. They changed it around this year, and they had two contestants per mentor. So it was a little bit hard. It was a little bit harder because, my mentor had two contestants, and we both got to the final. So we were like kind of competing against one another, even though we had the same mentor. So it was kind of, there was kind of that weird vibe this year. But I just had the best time. Like, I loved every minute of it, getting up on that stage, performing with the band, and singing. I was singing to cameras. I mean, we didn't have a live audience because of COVID and everything.
Right.
And they actually changed the venue this year. It was a new venue. So I don't know if they're ever going to bring back a live audience. Prior to this year, there was always an audience and dancing and, but I think that's kind of gone now. I think this is their new concept going forward. But I absolutely loved it. One thing going into it, I really wanted to stay true to myself, and who I am as an artist and the kind of stuff that I love to sing. I feel that there was probably times when I chose stuff that maybe the Irish audience wouldn't have been so connected with. But I wanted to stay true to myself, and who I am as an artist. There was no point in me singing stuff that I didn't love. And that's kind of my concept in life as well. Like, when I try to pick new music, sometimes I'm advised, maybe do this song, or I get a lot of people contacting me with original songs. And if I don't connect with it, I just can't, even though it could be an amazing song, but I just have to feel something towards it. I have to have that kind of connection, because I suppose I studied as well acting and stuff like that, and really connecting with, words and songs. So that's kind of what I try to do in all my singing.
Okay. And we do have a clip of you singing Tennessee Waltz. Let's go ahead and play that real quick.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz when an old friend I'd happened to meet. I introduced her.
And so that Tennessee Waltz one of the songs that you're talking about where you say that you want to stay true to yourself?
I love Tennessee Waltz. I think it's such an amazing song. The version I actually fell in love with was Eva Cassidy's version, which is totally stripped back. There's just a guitar. There is nothing else. A guitar and the voice. And I love that really exposed, like, nature of songs. So when I heard her version, I was like, oh my God, I have to record that version. So the first version I ever actually recorded was an acoustic version. So it was just a guitar and me, which is actually on my YouTube. And it got so much love. And people were like, oh my God, this is amazing. You need to release this. So then I decided maybe I should release it as a single. But I didn't release an acoustic version. I actually went and recorded a proper version with more instruments. But I still tried to keep it slightly acoustic-y bluegrass feel, because I didn't want it totally swarmed with instruments, because I think the song is so beautiful that it speaks for itself. It doesn't need a lot, you know?
Yeah, and I really like Tennessee Waltz. Tennessee Waltz is, a classic here, definitely in the
Yeah.
United States. And you said you did that version, but also, Patsy Cline and Sam Cooke, who's one of my favorite non-country artists from the 1950s, also did that as well. But let's go ahead and play Rachel's version of Tennessee Waltz here on Hank's Corner.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when a note for it died happened to me. I introduced her to my darling, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night and the Tennessee waltz. I know now just what I have lost. Yes, I lost my little darling the night they were dancing the beautiful Tennessee waltz. I remember the night and the Tennessee waltz. I know now just what I have lost. Yes, I lost my little darling the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee waltz. Oh, the beautiful Tennessee waltz.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. with my special guest, Rachel Goode, all the way from Ireland. And you just heard her version of Tennessee Waltz. And tell me a little bit about the video that you guys put together with that.
So the vibe I was going for with that was I kind of wanted a really old style vibe, like kind of like Doris Day, Marilyn Monroe, Patsy Cline-esque. Patsy Cline is probably one of my biggest influences in country music. And yeah, I just thought that kind of style would suit the song, the kind of old vintage look. even the microphone and everything like that. I had a vision that I wanted it to be done in a theatre, on a stage with a curtain, that type of microphone. And yeah, it all kind of seemed to work out really well. I used my local theatre for the venue, and a guy called Aidan Farrelly from Bad Apple Films filmed it for me, and he's amazing to work with, and he always seems to get exactly what I want. You know, I kind of tell him the vibe and he seems to do it perfectly. So I was really delighted with how it turned out, and I think it fits the song very well.
Definitely. And as a photographer slash videographer that I do on the side, I'm glad that you did promote your videographer, because we always love when that happens. But so you're talking about a lot of influences that come from, like, the early times of when, things were starting to come out on the radio back in the 50s and 60s, that sort of thing. How does somebody as young as you come across artists from that era?
Well, my parents loved music. So growing up, I was constantly listening to various different things when we went on car journeys. I actually lived in the UK for a lot of my childhood. So we spent a lot of time driving. We used to drive to the ferry and get the ferry to Ireland, and then drive down to Galway, to my hometown. So we spent a lot of that time in the car, and listened to a lot of music. And they loved country music. So they used to have, I don't know if you remember, they were called the Shades of Country, the albums, and they had like loads of different artists and different songs on them. And one of the songs I used to sing as a child was Crazy, Patsy Cline. And another from the CD was Harper Valley PTA. And another was Coal Miner's Daughter. So that's how I kind of grew up listening, or kind of discovering, I suppose, Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, who would be big influences of mine. I think, I mean, there's something about Patsy that I just really, really admire and love as an artist. I think first, I love her voice. I love the depth and the roundness and the warmth that's in it. It's nearly like really soulful, and another thing I love about her is you don't even have to look at her. You don't have to see her, and you can hear the emotion in her voice. Like, you can feel everything that she is singing, and you don't even need to be looking at her. And that to me is a really amazing artist. And yeah, I just love her. I love all her music. If I could do a whole album on her, I would. Maybe someday.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely look forward to that. And that's kind of the thing about being an independent artist with social media. If you wanted to do that and just throw out some videos of it, you can. That's what's great about it. But also, I find it interesting, all the way out there where you are, and listening to some of the classics, as we would call them over here. But I do think that that era of time is starting to make a comeback. Even here, there was a period of time where that was considered older music, and only the older generation was listening to it. But I love that it's making a comeback. I love that people are being able to see these artists and saying they were strong women, and in some cases pioneer men that were putting out the stuff. And it's so great just to see a resurgence of this.
Yeah, I mean, country music is definitely evolving and changing as we go. And some people don't like that, and other people love it. I mean, I think that within every genre, like, there is all these stems off the genre, and but I love the old style of country. I really do. But I also love the current style, the kind of more pop country as well. But I think for me as an artist, I think that my voice slots more into the older kind of style. And yeah, I love that it's making a comeback. I mean, I sang one of Patsy, well, it wasn't Patsy Cline's song, it was actually Hank Williams' original Lovesick Blues. But I always loved Patsy's version of it. And I sang that as well on Glor Tire. And it was something that was mentioned to me by the judges was, I haven't heard this song sung in years. And I don't think it had ever been sung on the show, actually, and the show has been running a long time. So they were like, it's lovely to have something revived like that. And I mean, I loved singing it. Like, it's actually going to be a single of mine coming up as well. So I'm excited for that one.
Okay. And one of the things I've been asking artists, because you're talking about classic music, and back in the day, all we had was vinyl. That's what we used to use, and I know a lot of artists are now starting to do some, vinyl albums, even if it's just a single that they're out there putting with their merchandise. Is that something that maybe you'll consider with some of this old music and put it on a vinyl album?
Do you know what? I hadn't really thought about that until you've just said it to me now. I mean, I love vinyl. Myself and my partner, we're hopefully moving into a new house soon, and we're going to buy ourselves a vinyl player and some old vinyl records. The two of us, we both love music, and we kind of all love a lot of the older music, I suppose you could call it. So if I could get myself on vinyl, that would be really cool. But again, I think certain songs would fit the vinyl category more so than others. Like a lot of Patsy Cline's would be beautiful, like on vinyl.
Definitely. So if you do that, feel free to put me in the credits as I came up with the idea. But either way, if you do or do not, I would love to get that if you put it on the vinyl. So we're going to go ahead and play a video real quick, not by some of the older classic ones, but by a newer version. Cam, this is your version of Diane here on Hank's Corner.
I promise I didn't know he was your man. I would have noticed a gold wedding band, Diane. I'd rather you hate me than not understand. Oh, Diane. You picked the time and the place. Don't know how much I gave him my heart to break, but I know he broke yours first. Lying right there in my bed while he was lying too. Believing the words that he said, how could we be such fools? And all those nights that he's given to me, I wish that I could give them back. Choosing him over the truth. And all those nights that he's given to me, I wish that I could give them back to you. Diane, I promise I didn't know he was your man. I would have noticed a gold wedding band.
And that was Rachel Goode singing her version of Diane by Cam here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. So, Rachel, when did you start realizing, hey, I want to be a singer and I want to do this as, almost like a career?
Um, I grew up singing, so I mean, the first time I was ever on stage was when I was in school, and I got like the lead role in the school play, and I was always singing though. Like my mum said, I was 1 years of age, and I used to get up in the morning and crawl down the stairs, and I was able to put in videos into what was our VCR player at the time. And my mum would come down in the morning, and I would be there singing and dancing along to whatever video I put in, but there were always music videos, my mum said. It might have been just ABCs, but they were always through music. So even at the age of 1, I was singing. And I was just always singing. I have so many videos of myself as a child. My parents were constantly filming me. I was an only child, so they were always filming me when they got a new camera. And yeah, so I was always singing. I also grew up singing in my church, there was children's folk choir, and I got solos there. And I suppose it was from there that my parents kind of discovered that I had a voice, I suppose, and they were kind of advised that they should send me to lessons. So that's what we did. And so I've been getting lessons, I suppose, since I was like 9 years of age, and entering different competitions and stuff like that all through my youth. And yeah, I always kind of came in the top 3, if not winning them as well. So that's kind of when we knew that I had something, I suppose. And then I was training all throughout my schooling. When I was 15, I got a scholarship to go to a well-known opera singer in Dublin. So I got a scholarship to train with her. So I used to have to get the train from Galway to Dublin. When I was 15, I'd take a half day from school. School allowed me to do this because they knew how much singing meant to me.
Right. And that was at the Royal Irish Academy, correct?
Yeah, so that was at the Royal Irish Academy of Music. So I was training classically. And then when I turned 18 and finished school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I actually always wanted to be a teacher. Well, I always wanted to be a singer, but when you're young, a singer is like Celine Dion. Like world famous, which I thought, like I'm never going to be like that. So I wanted to be a teacher, and that was kind of, as I say, my normal job. But I didn't get enough points. In Ireland, there's a point system. So, if you get like an A, a B, a C, you get a certain amount of points allocated, and teaching was really high, and I just kind of missed the points. So I said, okay, I'll go and do a music degree, and we'll just see what happens. So I went to Dublin. I did a music degree. It was very classical based. So everything was done through classical music. Like we used to sing German lied, French song, art song, operatic arias. It was all very classical. But on the side, I gigged, and I did country social dancing and country gigs in pubs. So I kind of always kept both sides, of my voice and my personality, I suppose, going. And then I went off. I was advised to kind of pursue the opera. And I had never been in an opera, even though I had been studying for 4 years classical music. So I didn't really know. I was like, I don't really know if I like it, or, I've never had a proper role in it. So how do I know that it's what I want to do? So I went to Wales, and I did a master's in opera performance over there. And I have to say, it was one of the best experiences of my life. It helped me in so many ways, because I was quite shy and quite reserved, and we had to study acting over there, and he pulled so much out of me that I really came out of my comfort zone. And I feel like I'm a better performer because of it. Because I was constantly on stage then. I got most of the lead roles in all the productions that we did. So I was on stage a lot, and I really grew as a performer. Even though it was classical, and not country, it has helped me so much. I feel all the better for it, as a performer. And then I came back to Ireland, and I had always been singing country, even when I was doing classical. It was like kind of like my on the side gigs and stuff like that. And I had always been advised to really get into the country industry, but life kind of took over and went a bit mad. And I was so busy that when the pandemic happened, I kind of said, you know what, I really think I'm going to give the country stuff a go. I feel like I'm missing a part of myself if I don't, pursue that. So that's what I did. And I released my first single, Coal Miner's Daughter, last year in July. I mean, it's not even a year yet, and it's been crazy. So
yeah, and I'm definitely loving Coal Miner's Daughter, and let's go ahead and play it here on Hank's Corner.
Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter in a cabin on a hill in Butcher Holler. We were poor, but we had loving. That's the one thing that Daddy made sure of. He shoveled coal to make a poor man's dollar. My daddy worked all night in the Van Leer coal mines, all day long in the field hoeing corn. Mommy rocked the babies at night and read the Bible by the coal oil light, and everything would start all over come break of morn. Daddy loved and raised 8 kids on a miner's pay. Mommy scrubbed our clothes on the washboard every day. Why, I've seen her fingers bleed. To complain there was no need. She'd smile in Mommy's understanding way. In the summertime we didn't have shoes to wear, but in the wintertime we'd all get a brand new pair. From a mail order catalog, good money made from selling a hog. Daddy always managed to get the money some way. Yeah, I'm proud to be a coal miner's daughter. I remember well the well where I drew water. The work we done was hard. At night we'd sleep 'cause we were tired. I never thought of ever leaving Butcher Holler. Well, a lot of things have changed since way back then, and it's so good to be back home again. Not much left but the floors. Nothing lives here anymore except the memories of a coal miner's daughter. Except the memories of a coal miner's daughter.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. along with my special guest, Rachel Goode, and you just heard her version of Coal Miner's Daughter. And so this last section here, I just want to get to know you a little bit more personally. But before we do that, we had a viewer send in a message. Declan wants to know, is Rachel planning any new music soon? And is she considering putting forward a song for next year's search for Ireland's Eurovision song?
Okay, so to answer the first question, I am releasing new music soon. I have a new single coming in the next 2 weeks. And I actually only just got it just there before I logged on to the podcast. So I'm very excited to listen to it. And yeah, so I have another single then coming probably a little bit after that, which is an original. It's not my original. It's a guy called Paddy Connery who has wrote a song for me. So I'll have that coming out as well. And then I've also kind of put down vocals for 3 other tracks which are being made at the moment as well. So yeah, there's like 5 tracks kind of in the process. So there's a lot of new music coming. And there's actually also a Christmas original as well. So there's a lot of new music coming along down the line. So I'm really excited. But obviously I'm really excited for the one that's coming really soon. But it's called Climb That Mountain. This is the first drop of that because I haven't announced it yet. And yeah, so the Eurovision. I mean, if someone came to me with the right song, absolutely, I would totally enter again. But yeah, like this year was, it was kind of crazy how it happened. You know, the songwriters found me on Instagram, and they had got to the final at that stage, but they had no Irish singer, and they found me and they said they loved my voice and my vibe and everything, and would I sing their song? When I heard it, I was like, this is amazing, like it's such a bop. But I was like, oh, I don't know, like if it's really me, because I suppose I'm classically trained, but I sing kind of more country and Irish folk stuff, whereas that was like super, super pop. But I mean, I can kind of throw my hand to anything. So I was like, you know what, this is an amazing opportunity. And the Late Late Show in Ireland is like probably the biggest show in Ireland on the telly. So I was like, this is a great opportunity. You know, I really don't want to let this one go. So I took it on. But yeah, if someone was to come to me with the right song, I definitely would enter it again. But if I could write my own music, it would be great. But I never have time to sit down and try. So
Well, thank you, Declan, for sending that question. And there you go. Sometimes we have breaking news here on Hank's Corner, and that was the first drop of it. And you can bet that I will be promoting it on my new Music Friday post that you can check out there on Facebook on Hank Jr. Productions. So some of the things I like to ask towards the end, and I'm hoping to get something maybe a little bit different since you're all the way over there, is one of the things is about food. So I always like to know what people's favorite food is. And I don't know if you have anything different, but I know I enjoyed some of the different intricacies over there in Ireland. But what are some of your favorite foods?
I love food, and I love cooking. I'm kind of known as the chef of the house. So I kind of cook everything from scratch. I love cooking. I don't know what my favorite is though. Like, I don't know if I can choose like one specific thing. I love Milky Bar white chocolate. That's amazing. And then like actual savory stuff. Oh, I don't know. I love fish. I'm a big fish girl. And yeah, I don't know. I love a good pasta dish. I'm not like with like chorizo and creamy sauce. I love stuff like that. I love anything with a bit of cream in it and cheese, even though it doesn't love me so much, but I love it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think I could pick an actual specific favorite thing. But here in Ireland, you've probably heard of all the different meals like bacon and cabbage and stew, and they're all real Irish things.
Had definitely had some of that while I was over there. So as far as like playlists, as far as music playlists, so I listen to you as one of the artists on my playlist. What is on your current playlist right now?
Well, so I have a few different playlists. So depending on my mood, so I have a country playlist which has everything from Patsy, Cline, Tammy Wynette, Reba McEntire, Loretta, Lynn, and then lots of kind of more current stuff then as well. And then there's loads of random artists on there: Martina McBride, Faith Hill, yeah, lots of stuff on my playlist. My country playlist is hours long, and I always just press shuffle. But then I have other playlists. I have one that like kind of gets me ready for a night out, which would have much more kind of stuff that's on the charts now, so much more pop stuff. And then I have a playlist it's called Chill Out playlist. So on that, I would have a lot of kind of Van Morrison, some Celine Dion, David Gray, what else? Picture This, they're an Irish band. So yeah, like my music taste is very broad. Yeah.
Okay. And along the lines of music, is there anybody, maybe out there in your area that you would say, hey, be on the lookout for this music artist? It's a very good music artist that may not be well known yet, but we definitely like to plug them here on Hank's Corner.
Let me think now. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there's so many artists out there trying to kind of be up and coming. Um, there's definitely, I can't think off the top of my head of a name, but there's loads, especially country artists. There's lots of girls. I mean, Aishling Rafferty, who won Glor Tire, is one of them. She's kind of on the up and coming. There's Jamie Donnelly, who you already interviewed as well. So yeah, and I think it's important, like to try and plug women as well, in the industry, because especially in Ireland, like the industry of country, there's a lot of men, and not as many women. So we're trying to break that a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely seems hard to do. I mean, it's something that we've talked about for decades now, and I don't know when the women will have their breakthrough, but you'll definitely find them here on Hank's Corner. So now I know you're very busy with everything that you're doing, but if you have some free time, or wanted to have some free time, what would you be doing in your spare time?
I'm a bit of shopaholic. So I'm a bit addicted to clothes. I've done a course in fashion styling, so I love putting outfits together, and yeah, so I love kind of going shopping. That's my pastimes, and I find I get a lot of steps in, when I'm doing that. So it's also exercise. That's what I try and tell myself anyway. I love going walking as well, and walking the dogs. My partner has dogs, so we go walking with them. And then I just love, we love eating out as well. That's a big thing of ours. We try and eat out like once a week, new restaurants all the time. So
Yeah, I definitely like trying new things. That's definitely awesome. But Rachel, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. So we can find you there on Facebook, and definitely can find you at rachelgoodmusic.com. Be sure
yeah,
to check her out. Be sure to be checking out, getting ready for the new single. But I hope that you do get to see a lot of the United States when you're over here, not just Alaska, but like you said, New York, and who knows, maybe you could make your way down to Nashville. But thanks so much for being a guest here on Hank's Corner. You're more than welcome to be a guest anytime.
thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.